Hey there, Jordan Reynolds from Better Songs here, and today I'm going to answer a question I get asked a lot. How much do songwriters make? Now, you might love songwriting, but wonder if you can really make a living doing it. And I won't lie, it's a tough business. So, can you make your own success? You definitely can. But first, you have to understand the various streams of songwriting income. Making money as a songwriter is possible, but it's also kind of complex. In this video, I'll break it all down for you. And if you'd like to grab a PDF of today's content, click the link in the description below or head over to bettersongs.com/howmuchdosongwritersmake. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you'd like more songwriting tips. Songwriting today is really feast or famine. That's why we as songwriters are working so hard to change streaming regulations to create a middle class in songwriting again. As an example, a typical first publishing deal is around 25 to 30 grand per year. Now that's all 1099, so you'll also pay self-employment taxes. Then, if you get a hit song on the radio, you can make a few $100,000 depending on how many songwriters collaborated and the song's genre and reach. For example, pop songs tend to be more lucrative than country songs. Country radio hits might earn $75,000 to $250,000 per writer, but a song with multi-genre radio play can easily translate to $500,000 per writer. Now, it's different for everyone, but for me, that feeling of getting my first paycheck was so validating. It told me I was on the right path. But I also knew I had to invest that money wisely because you just never know when the next big check or hit is coming. So, if you want to understand how songwriters make money, you must first understand song copyrights. Your copyrights are what allow you to get paid for the songs that you write. And you should know, you can only copyright complete original songs, not song titles, chord progressions, or other partially finished song ideas. There are two kinds of copyright for every song. First copyright is for the recording itself, also known as the sound master or recording copyright. It's best if I give you an example here. So in 1964, the Beatles recorded their song If I Fell. In 2004, Maroon 5 recorded a cover of that same song. That recorded version is also copyrighted. Each recording is a separate intellectual property from the lyrics and music because they're performed by different artists, with different instruments at different studios, many years apart. Each recorded version, both the Beatles and Maroon 5's, has its own master copyright registered with the U.S. Copyright Office. The master is often owned either by the artist, their producer, or the record label. Songwriters don't usually own master recording rights unless they're also the artist or the producer. Now, the second type of copyright is the songwriting copyright. Publishing or songwriting rights belong to the owner of the original music composition, including the lyrics, notes, chords, melodies, and rhythms. That's you, if you're the writer or co-writer and your publishing company. So, to continue our example, today Paul McCartney owns the songwriting copyright to most of the Beatles catalog. Maroon 5 doesn't collect any songwriter royalties for If I Fell. Paul McCartney gets those every time someone buys or streams Maroon 5's version. So, if you own the publishing rights to your songs, you need to register your songs with your Performing Rights Organization, or PRO, ASCAP, SESAC, BMI, who will make sure that you get paid. You need to understand both of these copyrights, master recordings and songwriting or publishing copyrights, when you register your own music or when you request permission to use music that someone else created. In order to get paid, your first step is to register your copyright. Songwriters can go for years without receiving any major royalty payments, and if a song hits big, the government mandates that royalties must be paid immediately. Earnings can't be averaged over several years as they can for like book authors, but this is the part of the reason I say songwriting is feast or famine. Your first option is a major goal for many aspiring full-time pros: getting a publishing deal. As a staff writer with a publisher, you contract with a publishing company who in turn takes part ownership of your songs. You're not an employee. Instead, you get an advance, essentially a loan that you can draw from. The loan gets paid back to the publishing company from your future royalties. You'll have a quota of songs you'll need to write during the length of the contract. Beginners often start with 1-year guaranteed contracts, but they'll try to keep you around for 3 or 4 years. The publisher will plug your songs for you, finance your demo recordings, and they may introduce you to co-writers as well as others in the industry. Once your catalog has recouped, meaning your loan has been fully repaid, you'll start to receive semi-annual songwriting royalty payments. Now, if you're an indie songwriter, you are your own publisher, and you can collect these royalties yourself, but you also have to do your own marketing. Royalties are the main source of income for songwriters, and there are 5 main types of songwriter royalties, which I'll get into now. By the way, if all of this is making your head spin a little bit, don't worry. It's pretty complex. Get a lawyer. But it's all spelled out too in the PDF you can grab in the link below. So let's dive in. Your first income stream is mechanical royalties. Mechanical royalties are set by law and rates are reviewed every 5 years. They're currently at 9.1 cents per sale, but that 9.1 cents is split between all the co-writers on a song as well as the publishing company, and publishers can often take up to 50% of a less experienced writer's royalties. So, as an example, if you sell 1,000 copies of a song, that song would earn $91 in mechanical royalties. If you have one co-writer, you'd each make $45.50. If you have a publisher who takes 50%, you and your co-writer would split that $45.50 for $22.75 each. Mental math. If you have a publishing or record deal, mechanical royalties are paid to you by your label. If you're independent, mechanical royalties are paid by your distribution service, like a TuneCore, DistroKid, CD Baby, for example. The second kind of royalties come from sync licensing. Songwriters receive sync fees when their songs are licensed to be synchronized with visual media. For example, television shows, movies, commercials, apps, video games, corporate videos, YouTube videos, and a bunch more. In advertising, sync licensing is known as jingle writing. Sync licensing fees are freely negotiated and are typically split 50-50 between the writers and publishers on the one hand and the artist record label on the other. Because there's no standard payment, sync fees can vary widely. For one song, a writer could be paid $50 or $500,000 or more, depending on who's licensing it, how the song is used, the writer's experience, etc. Anyone who licenses your music for sync will need 2 clearances. One for the song itself, through the song copyright, and another for the audio recording, the sound master copyright. You, in turn, will earn 2 types of royalties, sync fees and performance royalties, if you're the artist. If you work with music libraries to license your music, the libraries will arrange for these clearances ahead of time to make it easy for their buyers. The process is similar to licensing software or stock photos. You retain all your original rights while buyers purchase the right to use your music in various ways. And you can license the same song many times. Sync licensing is one of the top income streams for songwriters, so definitely check into it if it interests you. Next up is streaming. Woohoo! Streaming royalties are a type of mechanical songwriting royalty, but they're treated a little bit differently. So streaming generates both performance and mechanical royalties. The performance royalties are negotiated in secret between the PROs and each streaming service. It's not a very transparent process, so streaming royalty rates are not calculated on a per play basis. Instead, they're based on the service's gross revenue as well as some other factors. There are 2 kinds of streaming services: interactive, on-demand, and non-interactive, like webcast. There are also premium as well as free tiers for most streaming services. Interactive and on-demand services pay more to songwriters. We'll never know exactly how much, because Spotify used to provide an estimate on their website, but they have since removed it. But you can find streaming royalty calculators online that give you kind of a rough estimate. But we songwriters are making a difference with pushing for recent legal reforms. And according to Songtrust, we expect the situation to only improve. The 4th type of royalty is performance royalties. Now, as a songwriter, you earn performance royalties whenever your copyrighted works are performed, recorded, played, or streamed in public. That includes when you play your own music live or when someone covers your songs. Public performances include music played on the radio, TV, in bars, restaurants, clubs, or markets, or live shows, any other public venue. Performance royalties have 2 parts: songwriter royalties and publishing royalties. These are, again, collected and paid by your PRO. Performance royalties for huge hits receiving heavy radio play can earn $500 million per year. Not all songwriters perform, but many do. And even if you have a publishing deal, you will still have to do some of your own marketing and networking. Playing live is a huge part of that. No one will ever believe in your work more than you do, so definitely perform if you can. Performance royalties are paid quarterly, and they're an important income stream for songwriters, so make sure you do not miss out. Finally, you can earn print royalties. Print music royalties are more common for classical and film composers, but if you write a popular song that other artists want to cover or students want to learn, print can come into play. So print royalties are often based on the number of copies sold, usually sheet music or books. Publishers are usually paid 10 to 20% of the retail price, and as a songwriter or composer, you receive your cut of that, usually about 75%. Aside from royalties, there are many revenue streams songwriters can and do tap into. Some common income streams include live shows and merchandise, teaching and coaching, crowdfunding or membership, community support, for example, through Patreon, producer royalties or work for hire, session musician royalties or work for hire, entrepreneurship, as in developing and selling software, apps, tools, accessories, and more. When it comes to additional earning opportunities, go wherever your interests and skills guide you. There's no right or wrong, and you don't have to do work you don't enjoy. I know I've covered a lot in this video, so here's a quick rundown. Mechanical royalties are set by law at 9.1 cents per track or record sale and split between co-writers and the publishing companies. Using this number, we can estimate what songwriters make on a particular song. Sync royalties for movies, TV, etc. are negotiated, and they're all different, but they're usually split 50-50 between the songwriter and the publisher on the one hand, and the artist and their label, if any, on the other. Streaming royalties are less straightforward and not transparent. You can find royalty calculators that will help you estimate royalty payments, but $4 to $5 per 1,000 streams is a commonly used ballpark. Now this royalty is split between the songwriter, the publisher, and the streaming service. So you can see basic streaming stats on the Spotify artist profile. Performance royalties can vary widely, but they're an income stream you can count on. So play out if you can to make the most of them. So how much do songwriters make? Everyone's different, of course, and it's really next to impossible to guess how much a particular songwriter is making unless they just tell you. But as examples, first, Dan Wilson and Adele for the song Someone Like You alone, sales were $3.9 million plus $5.8 million in album sales means a total songwriting royalties of $882,000, somewhere around there. Next, Lady Gaga and Red One for the song Poker Face. Track sales were $6.5 million plus additional album sales of $1.5 million. That song generated total songwriting royalties of $728,000. Third, Eric Church for our country fans. Eric is a top country artist who's written or co-written many of his own songs. He also writes for other artists, so he makes a nice income from songwriting royalties. Eric works hard and smart, topping the earnings list for country artists in 2019 with $25.85 million earned from music alone without even taking into account any brand agreements, public or TV appearances, or merchandise sales. Of course, these income stats are available because these are hit songs and they are top performing and recording artists. Many, if not most, hit songwriters aren't household names, and yet they still make a pretty good living. So, what should you do to make money as a songwriter? First, write a lot of songs. Be prepared for hundreds or even thousands of rejections. It's the nature of the business. The most important thing is to be constantly honing your craft and building your catalog. I'm still doing it today. Number two, write singles. While there's still room for both albums and singles, strong hit songs are where the biggest paydays are currently found. Make everything you write single worthy. Number three, network. Work with lots of people. Constantly expand your circle and continually build your relationships with industry pros as well as established and up-and-coming artists. Number four, embrace sync licensing. Seek out sync opportunities wherever you can find them. It's completely realistic to earn a few $1,000s on a sync license and to license a song more than once, which opens up a whole world of earning opportunities. 5, constantly grow as a songwriter and musician. always be honing your skills, not just in songwriting, but also in complementary areas like music or production to open up other revenue streams. Sixth and finally, commit to songwriting for the long haul. The investments you make in honing your craft, building your network, and creating your body of work will pay off in time. Just keep at it. So to wrap up, the business of songwriting may be complicated, but you can definitely make money if you're armed with the right knowledge and prepared to work hard. I hope this video cleared up some questions and gave you some new ideas and inspiration, because after all, hard work doesn't seem all that hard when you're doing what you love. And I'm all about helping you to achieve your songwriting dreams. Click on the link in the description below and enter your name and email, or head to bettersongs.com/howmuchdosongwritersmake to get my free PDF on making money as a songwriter. And do not forget to subscribe for more great songwriting lessons and tips. Till next time, this is Jordan Reynolds, helping you write better songs. See you guys.